Hey, welcome back. Today we are going over Jesus raising someone from the dead. This is the first person that Jesus raises from the dead, and I think this miracle is fascinating. I think it's fascinating for so many reasons. First of all, it is in Luke 7. It's only in Luke 7 because apparently raising someone from the dead for the first time that we read of wasn't that impressive for Matthew, Mark, John to mention. We didn't mention this. Like, this was only mentioned by Luke. And I think it's fascinating. Fascinating. Anyway, let's go to verse 11 in Luke 7. And it came to pass the day after. So it was the day after Jesus healed the centurion's son. Servant. Not son, that was someone else, servant. He went to a city called Nain. 100%, I'm saying it wrong. I get it. I know. I don't know how to say it. I should look it up. So he goes into a city, and many of his disciples went with him, and much people. So it's Jesus coming into the city, a whole horde of people coming in with him. Okay, got this? Got the picture of the desert or whatever, and all this, and Jesus coming in and a whole ton of people following him. Okay, much people. I don't know what that is, but a lot. Now when he came nigh to the gate of the city, so he's at the gate, he's entering into the city with his entourage of tons of people. Behold, there was a dead man carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and much people of the city was with her. That's an interesting phrase, much people. Probably wouldn't say that exact phrase nowadays, but we get it, right? We know what it means. There's a whole ton of people. So Jesus has all his people coming in. The widow coming out with her son that is dead. So this funeral procession or whatever coming in, Jesus coming out, and they kind of meet at the gate of the city. If it's a gate, it's probably not very wide, I wouldn't think. So much people on both sides are probably like squeezing by each other, right? Trying to make room. In our talk on Jesus turning water into wine, we talked about rules of giving way to other parties. Like if there's a funeral procession going down the road and a wedding procession coming, the funeral procession gives way to the wedding procession, right? Sorry, I got an itch. I don't know what that is. So I think in the culture, there was they would give way to different parties. So since that was mentioned about funeral processions versus wedding groups, I'm guessing the funeral processions, they would rank. So it seems like when they come together, the funeral, everyone walking with the dead body would have the right of way. Jesus and the disciples and the much people would wait, right? So I'm guessing Jesus and everyone is waiting for the funeral procession. 7:13. Sorry. Much people of the city were with her, and when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said unto her, weep not. So we're very much focused on her, right? Like in 15 words or whatever, we've mentioned her like 4 times. This is about her, not so much the son who has passed away. We're talking about the widow. The Lord saw her, had compassion on her, and said unto her, weep not. I love that. So we probably have hundreds of people. The funeral's coming out. People are carrying the body. Jesus goes up to the mom of the deceased and tells her to weep not. Then Jesus came and he touched the beer. I had no idea what a beer was. I had to I had to Google that. Apparently, it's like the little cart or whatever that the body would be resting on, or the casket. Like the casket goes on those wheels and you can roll it around. It's probably not the same wheels that they have today, but hopefully it had wheels back then or whatever. There's some kind of cart or something to help carry the casket or body wrapped up. I don't know how that works. I don't think it was like casket like today, but it was probably wrapped up. And Jesus came and he touched the cart that the body was on, or the whatever it was. And they that bear him stood still. So Jesus comes up and touches the cart, and everyone like freezes. So people that were carrying him stood still, which I don't know what else you would do when Jesus walks up, and you've probably heard of him, and you see Jesus coming in with an entourage, and I'm sure everyone's like, hey, that's Jesus. That's the one, Jesus of Nazareth. That's what everyone's been talking about right there. So they just stopped like holding it. And Jesus said, young man, I say unto thee, arise. Touches the cart, looks at the dead body. Young man, I say unto thee, arise. In 15, and he that was dead sat up and began to speak. Gosh, so he sits up. He probably had something on his veil or something, I'm guessing, on his face. Seems like the other times where there was a dead body in the New Testament that they are wrapped up, like Jesus was after the crucifixion. So there was some wrap. I'm guessing that he had to take something off of himself. But he sat up and he began to speak. Luke, why do you write? What did he say? Sorry, we need some more details. We need some more details on this stuff. And he delivered him to his mother. So Jesus delivered the boy to his mother. How exactly that happened, what that looked like, I don't know. But I'm guessing Jesus helped the boy off of the beer, the cart thing, helped him down, maybe undid his stuff, and then delivered him. So I'm guessing he like maybe took him by the hand or the back and like brought him to the mom, which was probably right there. So it wasn't a very long distance. Like, hey, and he kind of presented the boy to his mom. Man, what an incredible miracle. That is just such a crazy, crazy, awesome thing to think about, witnessing that. And I'm guessing hundreds of people witnessed it, and it is incredible. And to think about the happening is insane. 16, and there came a fear on all, and they glorified God, saying that a great prophet is risen up among us, and that God hath visited his people. So there's some miracles. You could probably say there was some trick involved. We talked about the water to wine. Maybe there was some trick involved with that, or an inside person that was switching it out. Or we talked about this centurion servant. Maybe he was faking sick or something. Now this person is dead, and Jesus heals him. There's no trick in there. There's no other way around it. And I like where it says there came a fear on all, but then it says, and they glorified God. So I don't think the word fear is the best word to use in that situation, but they were probably fear, like overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And they glorified God. So immediately they glorified God, knowing God is the only one that would be able to do such a miracle. Such a great prophet has risen up among us. Still a great prophet. I mean, I think you're knocking him down a little bit, but I don't think there was any disrespect meant there. God hath visited his people. I love this. I love to think about it. I love to picture it like the two groups coming together. What everyone was thinking, like the people standing by Jesus, they're like, "Oh, let's wait for the funeral to come by." And they see Jesus say to this person, "I say unto thee, arise." And he does. I love picturing the miracles and what that must have been like. What was it like for the boy who had died? What was it like for the mom? What was it like for the people holding the beer cart thing? And Jesus takes the boy off the cart, and you're like, "Oh, well, should I just put this down?" I don't know. They're probably just set it down because they're like, "What? I don't know what else to do." The family, the neighbors, and everyone that witnessed this, Pharisees, Sadducees, whatever, the scribes that witnessed this, everyone following Jesus in, everyone on their way out. Like, we had the day planned for this funeral. Like, what are we going to do now? We had this feast planned. We had this, like, so many different things. Like, what are we going to do now? And they witnessed Jesus heal someone. I think it's fascinating that this takes up like 6 verses. 6-ish verses. That's crazy. Because sometimes people will be like, Jesus, the Bible, not Book of Mormon, the Bible, the New Testament, whatever. This is just like poetry. This is just nice stories. If this was just a story about Jesus running into people and healing someone from the dead and everyone moved on, that's not much of a poetry at all. That's not much of a story. That's not very exciting. Like the total lack of detail. It's not flowery. It's not embellished. Like Jesus ran into this person, healed them, had compassion on the mom, healed the boy, gave the boy to the mom, and they moved on. Like there's no poetry. There's no storytelling there. If it is, that's the worst storytelling ever, which I think lends to some of the truth behind some of the miracles. Because if they were stories that were made up, they'd be I don't want to say way cooler, like the miracles aren't cool, but I think they'd be more embellished, they'd be more flowery, they'd be more cool sounding, fun to read to your kids at bedtime. This is an amazing miracle, but not much of a story. If you're tucking your kids in at night and you read this and it takes like 20 seconds, that's not much of a story. But I love that this happened. Also, I love that we've talked about how Matthew, Mark, Luke, they often share the same miracles. It's not this one. This one is just in Luke. And I'm like, what's so special about this that the others didn't even mention? Have they seen so many miracles, so many times, it's probably incredible what they'd seen to this point that they don't even mention this. Raising someone from the dead is absolutely amazing and is a foreshadow to Jesus's mission on earth and what he does for us. And a couple of the authors of the Gospels have seen so much that they don't even mention this. And I'm sure that they were there. I think everyone was following him. Maybe they weren't there. I don't know how that worked. But Luke does mention it, and Luke does tell the story. And it is the first time someone is brought from the dead. And I love that we start the miracles with water into wine, and then healing people that are far away, then healing people that are close, healing up to a withered hand. And we're kind of like augmenting the awesomeness of the miracles up until I think this is number 11 that we're doing miracle. Number 11. So we've had 10. And now he's healing people. I don't think we're quite halfway through the miracles, how I have them broken out, how we will look at them. And it's the first time he has brought someone back from the dead. That's not just power over the earth. That is power over the earth and the heavens. Someone has died. Their spirit goes to heaven. Jesus has the power to not only heal, a physical healing, definitely a level up from what doctors were doing then or today. He is bringing a spirit back from heaven. Not only is he the God of this world, he's the God of the next. And that is incredible. I just want to end on Jesus's words here. I love looking at Jesus's words. He told the mom to weep not. And I think sometimes maybe we weep too much. I know Jesus wept in the scriptures. So I think there is a time to weep, but he asked the mom not to weep. So maybe have more faith. But when he says unto the boy, young man, I say unto thee, arise. That's my encouragement for all of us. Anyone watching this, arise. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're not dead, but arise. Whatever it is, whatever the circumstance, Jesus is there to help us arise. Arise over the sickness, or arise over death, arise over whatever it is in our life. Turn to him. This is what he did for this mom and for this boy and for this community. And he has no less desire to help you arise out of your circumstances as well. Ask him for help.